we're behind in the growth of Black businesses. The average payroll for our Black businesses in Central Florida is $176,000. Their entire payroll. That means they are barely paying themselves and then just keeping the business functioning. We won't give a neighbor $5, let alone go out our way to pick up 3 and 4 more people on my stop because that's the stop I signed up for. Old school community is, what are you willing to share? What are you willing to sacrifice? And what do you care about beyond you? We had an ownership to that community. And EBO, we want to challenge folks to get back to your village, get back to your communities, get back to your streets, get back to your schools, get back to your friend circles, get back in your church, and get very clear on what we care about, what we're willing to share, and what we're willing to sacrifice. I'm raising 2 babies. I don't want to pass them what we're about to pass them. When DE&I, equity, inclusion, race-explicit grant making is being weaponized and demonized and politicized, which breaks my heart because the fact that you're using legislation that my ancestors died for this country, and now you weaponize it against us. Because we've been conditioned that it can only be one in the room, so we got to fight to get in the room. Nonprofits have been conditioned, we can only give 1 grant, so we're going to fight to get this 1 grant. We've been conditioned to fight for crumbs. And what I'm saying, my name is Candice Simmons, and I am the founder and executive director of Enterprising Black Orlando. So Enterprising Black Orlando is a newly launched nonprofit serving Central Florida. Our goal is to strengthen the ecosystem serving both Black businesses and Black communities so that we can participate in this shared prosperity of this incredible community.
All right. So what originally drew you into baking, or what about your experience helped you understand people and communities?
God, that's a good question. I've been in banking for 27 years. I've worked for 3 different financial institutions and have been afforded an opportunity to build an incredible career in that industry. Made friends, some have turned into family, mentors, but of recently have been blessed with the opportunity to, I wouldn't say retire because I'm not old enough to retire, but to sunset that phase of my career and take what I've learned, what I've experienced, take what I've built for other organizations and now build it for my community. And so banking wasn't an industry I seeked. It wasn't an industry I was exposed to. No one tells you in high school you can grow up and be a banker, right?
Yeah. No,
so sure. It wasn't in my preview. If I'm being honest, it paid the bills. I was in college. I needed a job that worked with my schedule, and an 18-year-old kid, it was good money to start out. But I ended up really liking it. Like, I was good at it. I was passionate about it. Banking is one of those industries. If you can be a student of the work, if you can apply yourself, then you can build an incredible run rate and an incredible career for yourself. And I did just that. But to your question, things that I experienced, I would say for the first 20 years, maybe first 15 was in the retail side. And that's when I experienced the difference in access, right? At one point of my career, I worked in a branch that predominantly served Black and brown families. And I saw how transactional that relationship was. Direct deposit hits, I make the withdrawal, I'll see you in a month. I also saw even little things like how they staffed those branches, right? So they were predominantly staffed with newer, younger professionals who are just getting into the industry, just learning how to service customers. Fast forward, I managed a branch, a fluent branch on the beach. It was staffed with very well-seasoned financial industry employees. I saw the level of detail that was spent in providing not just a product to a customer, but financial coaching and advisement to a customer. In my first branch, I saw how folks without money barely knew what brought their account into the negative. But folks with money would come in and want to manage it to the penny. And so I saw the relationship with money applied differently. I saw the access to knowledge and advice leveraged differently in the financial industry. And I saw where one was transactional and the other was relational. And so right away I said, okay, proximity and relationships matter in this industry. And then I got the opportunity to work in community development. So the last 10 years has been working alongside the philanthropic side of the bank, working with nonprofits to fight societal issues like housing, like financial health and entrepreneurship. And I thought, well, I just witnessed where proximity to knowledge, access, resources, and relationships impact customers.
Yes.
Then when you are trying to close gaps in homeownership, when you're trying to close gaps in entrepreneurship, when you're trying to close gaps in the wealth gap, the only way you're going to solve it is if you answer the question to proximity, to access, tools, resources, and relationships. And so I take that with me as I stand up Enterprising Black Orlando.
I feel like banking is one of those industries, like you said, it's a silent heartbeat of the everyday life. You know, you're only impacted when you're looking at what that bank balance is. But the way that you talk about it is such more nuanced. So my question is, what makes you leave the stability of the bank after being there for so long and then deciding like, okay, I gotta do more in my philanthropic efforts in community development?
If I'm being honest, it was not a decision easily made.
Yeah.
That faith does not come without fear. It also was not a decision I don't think I put on the table myself. I was challenged with a ultimatum of the organization, the institution that I last worked with, to relocate, to secure my position, to secure a promotion, would have required me to relocate my family outside of not just Orlando, but outside of Florida. And I'm a Florida girl.
Okay.
This is the only state, good, bad, or ugly, that I know of, okay? The one thing I know how to be is a Southern girl from Florida.
Yes.
And so you're taking me out of my comfort zone to ask me to relocate. But I'm also a multi-generational home. Okay. I don't think companies think about, when you make these huge strategic decisions, how it will impact the individual. And so I sit here today with a mother that lives with me, a college student that lives with me, a soon-to-be bound college student. And so that's not a decision that's just a Candice to make. It would be uprooting everything about the Simmons household. And so waited with that decision. What I realized, when God wants you to move, if you don't move fast enough, he'll pull the rug right underneath you. And I think that's just what he did. Yeah. He said, it's time. And so I jumped with a whole bunch of fear, but a whole lot of faith of what is possible. And I have an incredible village, both personally and professionally in this community. Okay. I didn't even choose Orlando. I mean, I moved here for work, and Orlando wasn't the destination. We thought we were going to move to Jacksonville, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
And so I look back to 2013 when I relocated to Orlando. He knew then he wanted me here. Yeah. I didn't. And so this season really is about being obedient to what I see as the assignment over my life. So,
I feel like you might have answered this already. In the way that you explain your faith and just doing it scared. But is that the moment or the realization that was made when you decided to create Enterprising Black Orlando?
So Enterprising Black Orlando has been in the making for 6 years. Okay. It's truly been a labor of love, because when I served in the Orlando market from a philanthropic standpoint, as a funder, I could see the disparities. I can see the inequities on how Black-led organizations were supported, not just from funding, but from capacity building and coalition building. I could see how fragmented our partnerships and our relationships were, both within our own community and in the broader. I'm funding this work, and I could see the disconnect. And so it really started in 2019 with conversations with local nonprofit leaders to talk about, what does it look like to really partner, to really collaborate. We are stronger together, but that takes intentionality to build that type of relationship, to build that kind of trust, to say we're going to move as one. You know, the Bible say 2 cords is good, but 3 is unbreakable, right? And so how do we do that? And what are we asking for? What's our demands? How do we want to see things move differently so that it's not just a tagline, but it is a reality here in Central Florida? But I was limited in how far that could grow as long as I was tied to every 2 weeks paycheck.
For sure. For sure.
Very limited when you still wear a vice president title for a major financial industry in the philanthropic arm of a bank. Very limited, very maneuvering that conversation, maneuvering that dynamic, always held back Enterprise in Black Orlando from its fullest potential. Right. And now that I no longer have to wear multiple hats and I can stand on who I am, what I'm building, why I'm building, and how I'm going to build it, it just gives me this moment in this time. And I don't take it lightly. I realize the privilege. Folks don't like to use that word, right? But I realize the privilege I have first to pull 27 years of experience with me. I don't start at ground zero. To pull 10 years plus of working in this community and building incredible friendships and partnerships. If nothing else, there's trust. If nothing else, they know what I can produce and they're willing to bet on Candice, even if they don't know Enterprise in Black Orlando. I know that's a privilege that not every Black female CEO, executive director has at their disposal. I realize it's a privilege to be able to walk away from a career and the stability of a career, but have the support of my family, my husband, my mom, my children, to say, go do it. And so to be able to go all in at this moment, I don't take it for granted. I don't take it lightly because we are also at a crossroad in our nation, in our communities, in our homes, in our churches. And so Enterprise in Black Orlando was a novice ideal in 2019. It's a required component in 2025.
So in your own words, what does connected communities, unlocking opportunities mean to you?
Okay, I'm visual with this one. We thought about our mission statement. Oftentimes I see the picture before I see the words.
Okay.
And so imagine 2 circles. One, Black families, Black entrepreneurs, Black students, Black small businesses, Black creatives like yourself. Like imagine that circle first.
Okay.
Because in that circle, if we each can be connected, if we each can heal and work collaborative, if we each can have a shared vision of what we see, not just for us, but for our kids and our kids' kids. That's the first circle. How do we connect each other through love, through hope, through inspiration, right? And then there's this second circle. That's the greater Orlando. That's Central Florida. That's this shared prosperity. That's the American dream. But for so long, these 2 circles are really side by side. Like they're so close, they can touch. But we got to bridge the gap to have overlapping connected circles. Because, you know, when you link those 2 circles, that middle point in between, that's access. That's collaboration. That's shared resources. That's shared power. That's shared voice. That's where shared prosperity sits. And we are that close to being able to experience. But to get there, everybody got to give up a little something to connect it, to link the 2, to cross the 2. And so this work for me at Enterprise in Black Orlando is how do we connect within our family? And then how do we bridge the gap between Black residents and entrepreneurs and students to be linked to the decision making across Central Florida, to be linked to the shared prosperity and access to the growth that's happening in our region. You know, we did a report, the racial wealth profile in 2023.
Okay.
Although Black residents make up roughly about 20% of the population of Central Florida, we only own 3% of the businesses. That's roughly 3,200 businesses.
Yeah.
That means the growth, the economics, the addition of new development to Orlando. Black entrepreneurs aren't participating in that. And so that growth, that access, that's what I want to happen. That's what I want to see. Because it doesn't just benefit one, it benefit all.
Yeah.
If we work together to say, man, if we could just get to 10% small businesses, that's jobs, that's money, that's development, that's bringing a culture and a heartbeat to the city that doesn't exist fully in this capacity right now. That, guess what, attracts others to us. So this isn't just about Black prosperity. This is shared. We all have an accountability to close in that small gap between the one circle and the other.
So I'm hearing about that small gap. What's the biggest challenge to establishing the organization and focuses especially on the Black community? Like,
you named it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Okay?
Yeah.
I am launching. This will just be, you know, when I hit anything challenging in my life, I have this tagline. I say, it's just going to be a chapter in my book. We all have a book. We all have an untold story testimony to tell. This would just be a chapter in the book.
Okay.
But imagine standing up, creating a new nonprofit called Enterprising Black Orlando in a time that organizations are fearful to keep Black in their name. I'm determined to not remove it.
Yeah.
And others are changing their words, refreshing their language. In a time where to do this work and to be unapologetically who we are, to be unapologetically on what we're good at doing, and to be grounded in data. None of this is Candice's opinion. I wish the numbers were better. I wish when we did the report, I worked myself out of having a role.
Yes.
Right? But to be grounded in data in a moment where this work is being politicized as having these dominant narratives of being divisive. That in itself is the biggest and the scariest challenge of all. But it also validates why it is required. Because what I do understand, for some nonprofits, they are making very hard decisions on what it takes to be sustainable. What does it take to not have to lay anybody off? What does it take to not have to close that program from the folks that I serve? But the data speaks for itself, right? And so someone still has to tell the story. Someone still has to build the community. Someone still has to look at the data and say, we are not moving Black wealth indicators in this community, so let's talk about it. Someone still has to take up that mantle, that cross, and be that convener, and be that connector, and be that collaborator. And so that is the space we want to sit in at Enterprising Black Orlando. And what I realize is some folks will be a part of that journey and others won't. Some will come and some may come later and some may come never. And that is okay. Okay? That is okay in this work. I still wish the best and pray for all, no matter where you fall in that lineup of the work. But I think just being grounded in, I'm a Black woman who grew up in the South. Everything that I build and serve in the work is representative to someone on my family or representative of my own journey. And so what I know how to do is build and empower my community. because that's the language I speak.
Yeah.
And I understand the why and the gaps and the differences and the disconnect. So what I say to our community is, allow me to work on what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And then you go figure out the piece of the pie with the weak link, and you go work on what you're good at.
Yeah.
And collectively, we'll build these connected circles together.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of the above is scary. All of it. All of it, Jamel. All of it. But it'll be a chapter.
Yeah.
It'll be a chapter.
Chapter in the story.
It'll be a chapter in the book. That's all it is.
Okay.
It's just a little small chapter.
Okay.
I ain't even gonna give it too many pages. It's minor.
So I don't wanna miss this amazing report that you're talking about. Where can we find it? How can people connect with you?
Absolutely. So if you go to our website, eborlando.org, you could take a look at some of our work. Some of our early work was publishing our racial wealth profile. That was in 2023.
Okay.
And we wanted to just leverage that report to ground us in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This was before we knew what an EBO could be and could do. And so we looked at everything from housing, small business, wealth indicators to really look at where do we stand in prosperity and access. And so that's where you can see the data.
Yeah.
We're behind in Black business ownership.
Yes.
We're behind in the growth of Black businesses. The average payroll for our Black businesses in Central Florida is $176,000. Their entire payroll.
Yeah.
That means they are barely paying themselves and then just keeping the business functioning.
Yeah.
How do we grow revenue? Through procurement, through contracts, through commercial ownership, so that they can employ and hire more, so that they can pour back into the very community that invested and believed in them.
Yeah.
Home ownership. We sit at 27% of home ownership in Orlando.
Wow.
That is below. Here's a fact.
Okay.
The Community Reinvestment Act, filed, I think, in 1968.
Of course.
It required banks to lend in Black communities.
Wow.
Because what was established was redlining that established Black neighborhoods from white neighborhoods. And so if you were living in those redline communities, it was hard to establish lending to purchase your home.
Okay.
We had a higher Black home ownership rate prior to a law put in place required banks to lend to Black homeowners than we do in 2025.
Wow.
We are below state average and national average.
Wow.
And although, yes, housing affordability is an issue, but home ownership for white residents is 55%. So there's a huge gap that says access to affordable homes, it is single-handedly impacting Black home ownership at a higher rate than others. And all EBO is saying, can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the conversation? Can we think about the model of the work that we stand up from private and public partnerships in a real way where access and proximity, things that I learned in banking, are addressed when we build these solutions?
So I'm wondering, what does old school community mean to you, and how can we bring that spirit into modern spaces?
Oh, I love this question. This to me is the sweet sauce of Enterprising Black Orlando. Because in everything we do, that's what we think about culturally for us as a community, right? Old school community is where everybody in the neighborhood would tell on you. Okay? If you was running late, your mama already knew you were running late because the neighborhood aunties, they cared about you. They didn't want to see you go down the wrong road or hang with the wrong crowd. So if they saw you, consider it told. Old school community was, if you have ragu sauce and I have spaghetti noodles, we both have a spaghetti dinner, okay? Because we are going to bring what you have to the table, what I have, and we are going to share in love because we care about each other. Old school community, to me, was a civil rights era. You think about the Montgomery boycott, they stood up the most incredible 365-day boycott without having zero access to LinkedIn, to Twitter, to TikTok, to Facebook, to fancy venues. They had no Eventbrite. What else? They had none of these tools.
True.
What they had were living rooms and kitchen tables and church pulpits on a Sunday night after church was out. What they had was each other and the belief of what they were trying to accomplish together. What they had was what they were willing to sacrifice. And I think as a community, we got to have an overdue conversation around what are we willing to sacrifice, because they walked for 365 days. They carpooled for 365 days. We won't give a neighbor $5, let alone go out our way to pick up 3 and 4 more people on my stop, because that's the stop I signed up for. Old school community is, what are you willing to share? What are you willing to sacrifice? And what do you care about beyond you? We have a very selfish outlook on life right now. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking to see what we're about to pass the next generation. And I think it's so unfair, because our ancestors walked, they boycotted, they picketed, they sat in, they went to jail, they got beaten. They gave up a lot for something they knew they would never experience. And we walked in and we took that baton and we're just sitting on it. I hear jokes, comedians have made jokes around, I couldn't be my ancestors. Well, now's your chance to prove it.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is your history. Mm-hmm. Every generation, a mentor of mine said, every generation will have to fight for something. And this is our moment.
Yeah.
And the fight couldn't get any bigger. And we have got to lean on community and each other first, in a way where old school community did it for the whole neighborhood. Like, we talk about where we live now based on like, oh, where you live at? Oh, Lake Nona. Mm-hmm. Oh, I live in Lake Mary. Mm-hmm. I live in Altamont. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but when I grew up, when folks asked you where you live, you said the street.
Yes.
I grew up on Scene Way.
Yeah.
Because I knew every family on Scene Way. I was accountable for everybody on Scene Way. If my mom cooked a big dinner, she sent plates all down. Take this to Miss Mary Ann because she's sick. Take this to George because I borrowed sugar last month. Take this to... We had an ownership to that community. And EBO, we want to challenge folks to get back to your village. Get back to your communities. Get back to your streets. Get back to your schools. Get back to your friend circles. Get back in your church. And get very clear on what we care about, what we're willing to share, and what we're willing to sacrifice. I'm raising 2 babies. I don't want to pass them what we're about to pass them. And I pray God lets me rock my grandkids on my knee. Lord knows I don't want to pass to them what's left of the remnants of what the generation behind us have to deal with. So can we just get back to, sharing, sacrifice, and caring to uplift all? It's not okay if just Candice is okay. I'm not okay if the Simmons household is okay. I need to know we're all okay.
Speaks to your character. You have a very big heart, and it's very evident in everything you say. I'm hearing you speak about fractured community within the Black community specifically. What does rebuilding trust like that look like in practical terms?
Can we just talk? Right? Can we just take off our titles and our positions, and can we take off where we work? Can we take away all the awards we've won, and can we remove what our LinkedIn profile? Can we just sit down as Black women who try to build a career, as mothers trying to raise these kids, as a wife that's trying to juggle a career and a spouse and what that looks like? Can we just talk brother to sister, neighbor to neighbor? Can we have real overdue conversations is what I like to say. But to do that, that means we have to control the conversation.
True.
And I feel like we've been participating in other people's dialogues, right? Oh, we're gonna have a community conversation, but we're not controlling it. It's not our venue.
Right.
It's not our agenda. We may have been asked to be on the panel. And so because we've gone from participating to owning, we are overdue in some talks with one another. I also think it takes forgiveness. Okay, that organization did that, and that's all you got? Oh, she said that, and there's so much more at stake than what we are treasuring in our thoughts and our minds and our actions on how we see everyone. And by God, I hope God don't judge us the way we judge everybody else, because I ain't gonna make it, okay? And so can we just give grace? Because unfortunately, we've been in a system that have put us against each other. 27 years in the financial industry as a young Black female in an industry that's dominated by older white men, it does not come without battle scars. And it's okay if that one sister didn't make it easy for me. I understand why. Because we've been conditioned that it can only be one in the room, so we got to fight to get in the room. Nonprofits have been conditioned. We can only give one grant, so we're going to fight to get this one grant. We've been conditioned to fight for crumbs. And what I'm saying, can you and I talk so we can collaborate and build and demand what we need, not what we want? To be from a place of abundance. Oftentimes, we make these limited scarcity mindsets of just getting what I can when it's still not enough to do the work. It's still not enough to sustain you. It's not enough to make movement in the community you want to make impact. And so we could just talk. Let's just talk about it. Let's forgive. Let's give grace. And let's just start over. I mean, I would imagine the civil rights, I don't think they all liked each other. I am pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't all like each other. All them sisters in the church didn't just get along. And I'm pretty sure they had hard conversations. Look what they were up against. Do you think every day felt good for them? No. But they couldn't wake up the next morning and say, I don't like Malcolm, so I'm not showing up. No. They still had to go do the work. Because that moment was bigger than them. Yeah. It was bigger than their emotions. It was bigger than their egos. It was bigger than their pride. And so we're going to do this work together. So, yeah, I think talk. Let's talk. I like to talk things out. and then let's just agree to disagree. That's what to me the forgiveness comes in and the grace. Mm-hmm. And then resetting, okay, so what are we in this for? Are we in this for you to like me? Are we in this to increase Black entrepreneurship in this community? Because if I'm in this to get that 3% to a 10%, I'm okay if me and you don't disagree. I'm okay if you communicated differently than I communicated. I'm okay if you're not willing to partner and do it right now. And if in 2 years you decide, guess what? Let's get to work. I'm okay with that. And so talk through it, forgive, and then recenter in our why, because it's so bigger than us.
It sounds like you're willing to consider the person without making it personal.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, listen, I don't care what color, shade, I do not care. Mm-hmm. If you have There's something about the more fiber of an individual. If you are of good spirit, your way could be 360 degrees different than my way. As long as we can agree on that finish line, then let's do it. And it was interesting when I started Enterprise in Black Orlando, some of those earlier conversations, I had folks in the community ask me, well, why are you talking, why these three organizations? Or why did you start there? And why? And I thought, and I remember then using a simile. I love similes, and that's just how I paint picture, right? You got my husband's military.
Okay.
You got Army. They typically fight on land.
Yeah.
Okay. You got Air Force. They take the battle in the sky.
Right.
You got Navy. They own the ship, the water.
Yes.
Marines, bless their heart. My best friend's husband is Marine. They everywhere. I mean, they go land. They don't care that drop from the skies, go in the water and walk on. They everywhere.
True.
But in military, there's so much we can learn about the art of war. The Army never says, well, why did you send the Marines in before us? When the Navy gets their orders, they don't go, oh, now you give me the orders because you had the Air Force over there 3 months. 3 months? No. They stand guard and they wait until the battle is on the field they know how to fight best. And then they go. We have to be less concerned about who goes first, who gets in the room, who gets the conversation, who wrote the grant. And we have to think strategically who is best suited for that battleground and let them go do what they do best. And you stand your post and wait until you get your orders. But we oftentimes sit at the door, shoulder to shoulder, blocking everybody from coming in because we trying to be first.
You said a big word there. You said a big word. So my question is, how does EBO become the acting general to strengthen the partnerships and the community?
I think this is built in our strategy. We've been so intentional. And if anyone is in leadership, here's the lesson I learned. You didn't ask me this question, but here's the lesson I learned as a leader. You need to stay in the cave until you see the vision. I have went through 4 months of chiseling away at what I see as the vision of EBO. And as a leader, what it taught me is until it is clear as day for me, it's not done yet because I have to steward it. And it's okay if when I share the vision, nobody in the room gets it. They will eventually because I see it. I get it. But if you as a leader don't see it, you are never going to be able to influence and build the type of attraction and attrition you are going to need to do this work. And so I can speak the vision of EBO as though I see it clear as day. Fast forward 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And the day that I hand this organization down to the next, because that's a whole nother conversation, when it is time to just give up the seat, pass the baton, and move out of the way because you're stalling it. There will come a day I am stalling Enterprise in Black Orlando. Right. There's only so far Candice Nicole Simmons will take this organization. There's only so far Moses could take the people. It's only so far.
Yeah.
And so this vision right now, I see it, and there's going to come a day where I'm going to say, hey, gig is up. I'm done. Who's on first? Right? And so to be a quarterback, I do understand the amount of conversations and relationships it will take. I do know we need to model what inclusive dialogue looks like. We have a diverse board steering this incredible organization because we got to approach it from all prongs of what it takes to do this work. Our pillars for Enterprise in Black Orlando, to me, represents filling in the gaps of what is needed in this community. We are clear on who we are, and we are very clear on who we are not. Our goal is to be a convener and a collaborator, to strengthen, really build. We lack coalitions and alliances in the way that have served and built some of the very democracy we stand on today. And so how do we leverage community to build coalitions and alliances in a very intentional and strategic and informed and action oriented, right? No feel good, action oriented. What we're not trying to be an individual contributor, right? We're not trying to be a direct service provider. I do not want EBO to compete with incredible organizations who are well connected to those that they serve. I want to bring the resources in to help them do the work they do better, to help them expand their reach. We are, right?
Yes.
Race focused for holding ourselves accountable. And that's a huge statement to say in 2025 when DE&I, equity, inclusion, race explicit grant making is being weaponized and demonized and politicized, which breaks my heart because the fact that you're using legislation that my ancestors died for this country, and now you weaponized it against us is an entirely different chapter in the book. Okay. Entirely different. Might be another book, okay?
Yes.
We will be race focused on the metrics. And what that means for me as I steward this organization is until we see wealth truly shared, we are staying at the table. We are staying at the conversation. We are staying at the charge. Yeah. But what we are not race explicit for access. Mm-hmm. Anyone that needs the work, the partnership, the support of an enterprise in Black Orlando, come one, come all. We are not race explicit for participation, for partners, for allies, for friends, for family. Yeah. We are a community-centered organization. We are doing this for the good of Orlando because this city welcomed me in. This city is where I found and grew a piece of my career I never knew was on the horizon. This city is where I grew my voice and my presence as a leader. This city is where I found my passion and my calling. And so everything that I do is for the good of everyone in this community. And so our pillars were clear. One, coalition building. That is where we are building coalitions around first starting with entrepreneurship. How do we strengthen the organizations that are working with Black entrepreneurship? How do we make sure proximity and relationships, that we got the right people who can provide the knowledge, the training, the coaching, capital, funding, grants, equity investments? How do we make sure across full generation, whether you're 16 and daydreaming about being a business owner or 34 and trying to build a business to be your exit plan out of corporate America, or 66 and trying to figure out what does retirement beyond this business look like? We want to make sure we are hitting the full spectrum of entrepreneurship across multiple generations and strengthen that community, that ecosystem that's serving them. Second is then creating our pathways to wealth. Because remember, until we see the wealth indicators go in the direction we need them to go in, that means there's still work to do. And so how do we leverage the power of that coalition to build opportunities for wealth through either procurement, supply chains, commercial ownership? We'll be leveraging our collective giving framework to make sure that we have the money in place to do the work. And then lastly, you can build the coalitions, you can build you could do all of this. But if you don't have the people in place to leverage their voice, to leverage their stories, to put life to this. We have these big fancy panels discussions, and we have not humanized what it feels like to wake up and not know where your meal's gonna come from. Or can you go to the doctor? Or can you keep the doors of that business open? How do we leverage the collective voice of our community? And how are we building the pipeline for our succession? And so that third pillar is our people power and our collective leadership, where we'll launch the Village Institute, where we'll have our Village Fellows, which is building our civic pipeline of Black leadership in Orlando. Listen, the day is going to come. We can't miss a ballot box. We cannot miss a board seat. We can't miss a budget vote. We have to be heard and seen consistently to get the things we need to move us forward. We'll also be working with nonprofits to build our Youth Advisory Alliance. We do a great job of servicing these babies, but we've got to empower them. And they got some voices that they just haven't been getting the table, the time, or the room to say it. And ultimately, the decisions we're making, it's not going to impact me. It's going to impact them. Yeah. So how about we pull them into the room and let's hear their voice now? And then lastly, will be our Community Power Series. That's where we mobilize residents. Listen, sometimes as a leader of an organization or a CEO of an organization, it may be a lot at risk for you to go in, but there's no risk for the constituents of this community to go into a boardroom and share their demands and make their asks. But are we tooling them? Yeah. Are we informing them? Are we teaching them? And better yet, are we showing up with them? I said to my team the other day, we will become the welcome committee. Yeah. You want to go to the commissioner meeting? We'll meet you in the lobby. We will walk in with you. We will sit with you. You want to see what happens at your school board education? We will meet you on the grass. Meet us in parking lot B. We're going to come in together and allow them to share their voices. And so those three, to me, it goes back to those circles. Because all three will allow us to strengthen our circle, right? Where we have friendships, we have partnerships, we have relationships. We may fuss on Monday, but on Tuesday, we're going to be right back in this room picking up where we left off on that meeting because we now understand our why and we know what we're asking for and we know where we're at and where we're trying to get, right? And then the more we do that work, the more we strengthen our coalition, the more we bring financial resources into our coalitions, the more people we empower and we inform and we mobilize and we show up and we make our demands. Yes. We're going to force that other circle to get closer and move over. There's no way around it, right? It feels like gravity. It's gravity pull. Just listen. Yeah. 100%. Which it's so funny. I said gravity pull because two of our signature events that we'll do each year will be our Harambe Collective. And Harambe is a Swahili word that means pull together. Okay. And so it's just, it felt iconic. I said, yeah, we're going to pull that other circle. Yeah. Democracy wasn't given. It's taken. And this is our opportunity to do just the same.
Well, you covered a lot. And I want to just double down on something that you've already said. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing you say EBO is Black focused.
Absolutely. No, it's okay. No, you're good because this is one that's just like boils my.
You feel like you're being pigeonholed a little bit?
Absolutely. It's folks who care about the work has said, you sure you want to call it? Like you haven't, some of us are stuck still with Black in our name. And I know of amazing organizations who have removed their names and changed their language. And I respectfully understand why. And that's okay, right? Because it's all about you make the decisions that you have to make to steward your organization. But the way that diversity, equity, and inclusion has been politicized, it gives this counterproductive narrative that to be race specific, one, if you're not careful, you will think it's illegal, and it is not. It is our constitutional right. First Amendment right to fund and do whatever work we deemed appropriate for those that we serve. And so the data tells us in Central Florida, those furthest behind are Black entrepreneurs. Those furthest behind in our report are Black students. Those further behind are Black families. There was one indicator that said, I think 37% of Black families have a zero net worth. That means this isn't a poor people's problem when 37% of your Black residents have a zero net worth.
Yeah, it's hard.
That means no investments, no savings, no generational wealth to pass down to the next. That means there are college degreed, educated, working C-suite professionals who just have a long list of bills to pay. And they've been afforded an incredible career that can cover those bills, but they're not building any type of financial stability or mobility for them, their community, or their family. And so race focus on how we gauge what needs to happen because the interventions have to be strategic, but race exclusive to do this work. You don't have to be Black to have barriers to entrepreneurship. we don't have ownership on problems. We don't have a lockdown on poverty. But as we think about what is needed, we're going to think about it from the lens of, what is that experience like to be Black and do business in Orlando? Because clearly that experience looks different than to be white and do business in Orlando, because 67% of the firms are white owned. And their average payroll is $555,000. So the experience is different. Therefore, our tactics and our approach has to be different. Culturally, I think this was a Denzel Washington that said this in an interview when someone said, why did the director have to be Black? And he said it wasn't a Black or white thing. It was a cultural thing. If I wanted to give the essence of getting your hair hot combed in a kitchen, only a Black director culturally, nothing to do with culturally, could understand what it is like to get your hair hot combed in your grandmother's kitchen. Well, if I want to talk about proximity and relationship in finances, it's not a Black or white thing, but culturally, I know what it means when my grandmother rolls up a $20 bill in a little bitty square and puts it in a napkin and then slides that napkin in my hand. Culturally, not everybody understands why grandma folds her bill in a little square and still puts it in a napkin and then slides it in my hand so none of the other family members see she gave me $20. Yeah. That's culturally. Yeah. And so when we think about our tactics and our approach, as a leader of this organization, what we do will matter, but how we do it matters the most. And so that is what we will take. But if you're an entrepreneur, regardless, if you're having barriers, if the doors are closed, if you can't find your way around it, we're here. If you're a partner, we're here. If you're an ally, we're here. Like, we want to do this work with all. But we have to hold ourselves accountable to those who are struggling the most. And I mean, life's like that, right? Like, I think about doctors. You have some doctors who are really good being general doctors, right? They can like help you with a little bit of everything. But the moment you get a real problem with one ailment, what do they want to do?
Recommend you to a specialist.
They got to recommend you to a specialist. The moment they can't figure out, you got to go. You're going to go to a joint. Like we want to be the specialists for Black entrepreneurs and Black families. But we're open to all. But we know what we can do really well, and we want to be able to do it.
So can you give me some examples of successful collaborations and partnerships?
Yeah, so I said to myself, I was like, oh Lord, I gotta get through this one without shedding a tear.
Oh, okay.
Um, oh, I knew this was gonna happen. Thank you. I thought about changing my answer so I wouldn't have to go this way. But there was no answer that would do this question any justice. So I've been blessed with incredible mentors who have poured into me in ways I only hope they know. But Enterprise in Black Orlando, it was no EBO. It when you asked the question earlier, like, how do we start building relationships? And I said, just, can we talk? And that's what it started as, a conversation with 3 incredible CEOs of 3 incredible Black-led organizations that had been in this community for 30 plus years. And as a funder, I thought, if I can pull these 3 in a room to say, help me understand it. God, the power of the 3 of you. And so those 3, Tanisha Nungary, who now currently is still the president and CEO of the African American Chamber of Commerce, and one of my best friends, Glenn Gilzine, who at the time was the past president and CEO of the Central Florida Urban League. And may she rest in peace, Inez Long, who was the past president and CEO of Black Business Investment Fund, here, all 3 in Orlando. And these 3 leaders trusted me as a young professional to respectfully drive a conversation, challenge the discussion, and really require more. Help me. What can we do together? And I get emotional because before EBO was EBO, these 3 talked about EBO as it was Candice's from day one. And I always would position it like, I'm helping you. And they poured and they inspired and they built a level of confidence I didn't know I still needed. And then when it really started to feel like it was going to take root, and I still felt, you got all those like, but what if, and what if? And Inez Long, let me tell you something. When you can do this work with a giant in your corner, you feel unstoppable. It's like showing up to the bully and your brother's at the bus stop.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, you got a little bit more umph in your step because you're like, say something, right? And so to have an Inez Long back you in a way, it gave me something I didn't know I needed until I lost her last year. And there was this knee-jerk moment in her untimely death where I thought, I can't do this without her. And that's when a Tanisha stepped in and said, you're not alone. You're not alone. We are still going to figure this thing out. There is a privilege I've already talked about that I know I have that others don't get. At the time, we were not a nonprofit. We were a fiscally sponsored initiative with the Central Florida Foundation.
Okay.
That only happened because of incredible partnerships and friendships of trust, right? That I had with a Sandy Vidal and a Nicole Donaldson. Not every organization just go to the foundation and be like, set me up. Mm-hmm. But they stepped in and established the EBO Impact Fund. That allowed us to bring in early grants, to publish the report, to host community roundtables, to do some of this groundswell work that has to happen. But that was one step. I didn't have a team. There's no fancy accounting behind EBO at this point. BBIF, under the leadership of Inez, became our fiscal sponsor. And so now I was able to operate like this well-ran machine because I had this incredible leader put her back to me. And even today, I know without those three, seeing, believing, and investing, even if it was down to a word of encouragement, Enterprise in Black Orlando would not be here today. And Ray, he's at EBO now. He's the new president and CEO. He picked up right where he said, listen, we're going to figure it out. We're going to still support. And I think we are telling a beautiful story of what it truly takes to build what communities need. Leadership and organizations cannot do it alone. It's taken all of these incredible entities to get us here today. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take it lightly. And I am not going to lose like this one shot. Like, this is it. But it also challenges me to think about, I want to be an Inez and a Tanisha and a Glenn to somebody else. Whether it's a hug to say you're not alone, whether it's taking EBO to be your backbone, I want to build this organization so we can be that model again and again and again and again for each other.
It really pains me to say that was my last question, because I feel like I've at so many points in our conversation I've gotten goosebumps because you just ooze passion and authenticity. So I want to take a moment and send my condolences to you for your loss. I couldn't imagine having that type of support and mentorship. So I send my love to you.
Thank you.
But I want the people who have been touched by our conversation to be able to connect with you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would please tell them where to find you, where to connect with your research, and how to.
So me personally, LinkedIn, Candice Simmons, follow, keep up with me. Enterprise in Black Orlando. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook under Enterprise in Black Orlando. To join our newsletter, please go to eborlando.org. Sign up for the newsletter. That way for 2026, listen, we got things coming. And so it will allow you to stay up to date on our events, our engagements, our announcements. So please join our newsletter so you can stay informed.
So we have a little bit of a tradition.
Okay. Ooh, I like traditions.
That we like to do. This is
traditions.
This is like a surprise last question.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to ask you to take just a moment of meditation. Picture yourself completing your next big milestone. And then when you're ready, open your eyes and congratulate yourself on achieving that.
Oh, you're going to make me cry again. Don't make me cry again. And I'm a dreamer.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm such a dreamer. Thank God I am, because I couldn't do this work if I was stagnant and only saw what's possible now. Okay. Next big milestone. I like big milestone.
I mean,
like I won the lottery milestone.
I'll let you define it.
Okay. Oh my God, this is so hard to talk to yourself. How do people do this?
It's like picturing your inner child sometimes.
Right, that's hard. Like maybe those time capsules. How do they do this? Okay. You didn't think you could. You knew it was going to be an uphill battle. But you built a $10 million endowment through the Legacy Lives Here campaign at Enterprise in Black Orlando. No organization in this community will start at zero. Every great Black leader will have an opportunity for their brilliance to be because of what this community did together. So now, baby girl, go out and build back Black.
Candice Simmons, has been a pleasure